You can find this and all other webinars on YouTube. Some ground rules: I have muted everybody. But if you do have any questions, you can hit Alt and H. That'll bring up the chat. I will be monitoring that throughout this call. So if you do have any questions come up that you want to ask about anything that I'm going over, ask them. Go right ahead. Alt and H is the place to do that, answering all the questions. You can either ask them to the group or to me directly. So we do have that. We also have a survey that you can follow at the end. I will be posting a survey onto the chat there. And if you follow that, put in the answer the survey for me. Be so kind to do that. We'll enter you into a drawing so that you can get $200 off for next year's subscription. So really, really exciting stuff we got going on there as far as that goes. So take a look at today. We're going to be working on a full race night with driver check-in. We're going to be doing transponder integration, Westhold transponder integration. We're going to go over the schedule and classes, points and payout schemes, and online registration. So we have a lot to go over. So let's do that right now. So right here, you're going to be able to see my test track that we have here, your favorite track. And what we're able to do here, this is going to be our dashboard. It's going to go over a lot of different things here to keep track of different metrics. We're going to start, though, in season management. We're going to just go through what we're going to do before we start racing. When we do that, then we'll get everything before. Then we'll work on the after side. We'll work on the actual race. So what I've done right now, I've gone to season management. You see that I have a season already. This is your first time doing that for the year. You'll want to click on the 2019 season up here, click on new season, and then you'll want to click, I'd say 2018 for you, but you'll click on new season, you'll add that season there. And then you can get started. It'll want you to go to this page right here, this configuration page, and we'll start adding some things in. So we have a couple different things that we can see here. So we'll put it in as we have our track right here. We also have all the series that are going to be racing with me. I have a test series in the system. So I can hit add a series and then all series. And if I needed to add in any more, I could. So for example, if I wanted to search for anything here, I could do that. All series that we have in the system will have a class associated with them. So you can see that your favorite series has Sport Compact associated with it. So in order for me to use your favorite series, I have to have a Sport Compact there. It'll ask me to add that. So what I've been doing is adding in my series first and then adding in my classes that I'm going to be doing. So find your series here, add them in. This will add in classes. But to add in our weekly classes, the ones that we're going to be doing week in and week out, we'll go down to here to add classes. For me, I have past seasons where I've used some of these. So some of these classes here I've already done. But if I wanted to add in more different classes, I could do that. So I have sanctioned classes available right here. So if I wanted IMCA classes, for example, we can hit next. We're able to see all of our IMCA classes right here, the ones that we recommend to use for the IMCA classes. So if I wanted to add in hobby stock, I could do that right there and hit add. I'm also able to do this in the manage classes. I can go into here. This will pop up this screen. So you can see I have the A modifieds here. That's IMCA modifieds. This is what are A modifieds for right now. And so I've actually used this name override there to change the name of the class to match that. I've also changed some of these names to be more in line with what I would call them. So they're my race pass 3060 sprints. When you're doing this, make sure that you don't change the name of a class completely. So don't change it to something it's not. So, for example, if I have my 410 wing sprint class, don't call it a lawnmower. Don't change it to something completely different. The reason is that these all share out, and the drivers are able to add in their schedule and add in their results, and they're going to be needing to know what classes that you're using. And when you do it that way, it makes it very confusing for them to find those results. So I have my classes set up right now. I'm going to move over registrations and we're going to go use these classes in our events. So when I go to events, it'll have my schedules. A schedule is a group of events um, that you're going to be keeping track of points with. So I have a couple of them. So I actually have one big schedule that I throw all of my events in for the year so that people can find them and I can add into that. And I also have one here that's separate from that. So if I was doing something like a point average and I didn't want the points to go to my main point average, I could put them into this separate event and keep track of the points separately. Or if this was something like a speed week, I could keep track of all of the points just for that one group of events. Points are applied to the schedule, they're not applied to the year or the season or anything like that. So I have my schedules. If I needed to add in more, you can have as many as you'd like up here. You can add in that right here, name it, and have that there for you. Also, this one I've set as inactive because with this particular one, I just don't want my fans to see that schedule. It's just sort of separate from my main schedule if I wanted to apply points that don't affect things here. You can actually have events on multiple schedules too. So you can have an event on an active and an inactive schedule. Um, let's go in here, see all of our dates. So you can see that we're pretty busy at your favorite track. I believe it said 90 events. But if I wanted to add in more events, I could click up here at the top and find some events here. So let's finish out March. We'll add these two here for Wednesday and Thursday, and we'll hit next. When we do that, all of the classes that we selected from before are going to be there. So I can select which ones I'm going to be using, put in a name. I highly recommend putting in a different name than what we have by default, just so it's more catching to the public, because this does share out a lot of different places. So we want to make sure that we're drawing as much attention to our events as possible. We can put in our when the pits open, when the gates open, hot laps, and when racing starts. And when we're good with what classes we want to use, we'll hit add next. And it's going to try to save time for us and copy over some of this information. So that way, if I was using weekly classes, I could do that. But we can always switch over the classes we're using. We're also able to, if we just don't want to use this event, if I added it by mistake, we can just discard it and it's gone there for us. So we have a ton of different options there. Now it's added in, and let's go into that event there inside of March. It was would have been this event right here. Oh nope, misclicked. Would have been the other event week ahead. What I'm going to do, I'm going to link up my series to this too. So I'm going to hit add series down there. See that we have that matched up, and we'll hit add. And now the cool thing is, because we're both using my race pass, we're able to share our entry list together, our results. All of that will share to my schedule and to his, and we're able to pretty much do the whole race night under one subscription. And then at the end of the night, we can each apply points to where they need to go. So if I wanted to apply them just for the track, I could. And if your favorite series wanted to apply them just for the series level, they could do that as well. So all of that shares over. If you have any questions about how that would work, feel free to hit Alt and H to ask any questions about that. Be happy to answer those for you. Again, Alt and H there. This is your time to ask any questions that you have. It could be about anything you've seen or anything you want to see, any questions that you have in general. So feel free to do that. So we have our classes here. If we need to, we can also set this if it rained out. We could do that right here. We also can copy it over completely. So we can just copy this event to another date if we like how this was. So we have everything linked up. We have our events good to go. Let's take a look at registrations right here. Yep. If you're IMCA, I've got a question in here asking if they just joined IMCA track, if they use their point scheme versus uh, the tracks one. Really, for IMCA, you would have to use the IMCA point scheme to apply for to keep them happy. That's part of their rules. If you want your other classes, though, you can actually have multiple point schemes. So if you want your other classes to receive points how they've received them in the past, that's entirely up to you. I'm going to get to points here in just a minute. Actually, we're going to get to that after we get to registrations here. We're going to take a look into the settings and dive into it. But I'll show you how we can have multiple point schemes going at the same time. And then here in a bit, I'll show you where we're going to be applying those point schemes at the end of the night inside of race night. But suffice to say, for the IMCA classes, definitely use the IMCA point scheme. For your other classes that aren't IMCA, you can use whichever point schemes you would like. You can have multiple. So here in registrations, we have a few different options for how we would like to set up online registration. I've set up a yearly registration. You can only have one of those per season, but essentially what it lets me do is register all of my classes, and when those are registered, those go into my driver list when I go into entries here when we get to the race management side. It'll also let me put all that contact information into my contact list here in settings. So when I confirm them, you can see right here, I have a driver here. When he's confirmed, the information that he puts in there will be put into the contact list. We're also able to accept payments through here. You can see the form if you'd like to as well. So this would be the form that they would fill out. And we're also able to share to Facebook and Twitter right from here. We also can do single event registrations, so we can do registration for just one event. What this will do, this won't, if you confirm them, they'll show up into pre-entries, which I'll show you when we get to our entry screen. But it'll also, when we do that, not put them into the main entry list. The idea is that maybe this is for a special, and that we're going to have drivers coming from out of town who wouldn't normally race at a racetrack. So we have that event registration. Then the last registration we can add is a general non-racing one. And then you have a lot of options for that, for what you would like to do with that. But you can take down a lot of different forms and things like that with it. So that is an option. You're also able to collect PayPal fees. You can collect, hook this up to a PayPal account and collect funds through that with the registration if you'd like. And then essentially share this out. When drivers fill it out, you are able to confirm them, which essentially means you'll just fill in this box for a competitor, put in the number here, and once it's confirmed, you have that. You're also able to export these. You have a lot of cool things we can do there. So let's take a look at points. So inside of settings, up to the corner, you're going to see point schemes. You're going to see that I have a lot of different options here. So I have point schemes. So I have a couple going. This is IMCA's. To add them, I just clicked add scheme, and I found the IMCA point scheme that I'd like to use, and then I added it. This actually uses the points for them based on their rulebook. So it'll do a lot of things here kind of in the background. for example, if you have less than 10 cars, it takes that into account with the point schemes, things like that. If we wanted to set up a pay scheme or a different point scheme, we could do that as well. To do that, we'll just hit add scheme. We'll put in our name of it. It can be whatever you'd like. And then we'll add a breakdown. So I'm going to do an A feature, and we'll do first place pay. We'll do 100, and then I'm going to decrease them by 10. And then since I have 10 here, when I hit add rows, it'll decrease it all the way on down. I'm not locked into this by it all, so I can just click here, go to 20. This wanted to be 25, we could. But I kind of filled in a lot of the gaps there. So I can always adjust this if need be. Save it. Now I have a new point scheme. I'm also able to add a new breakdown. So if I wanted to pay for just heats, let's say we'll just give the winner $50. If I hit save, that'll do that there. We'll also have lineup point schemes right up to the top. These are going to be if you're using passing points. You can create different passing point schemes. They're going to have their own different global presets. You can see those right here. You're also able to create your own if you'd like. It's going to be the same idea. All right, so we have all of the things that we need beforehand pretty much done. So we got those added in. Now we can go into race management here. And it's going to take us to this screen. So when we click race management, it's going to take us to the closest date on the schedule that hasn't already happened. So the next most recent event. And we're able to look here through all of our classes that we set up when we put in our schedule. And we can see a few things here. So it's going to ask us what we want to do about pill draw and what we want to do about transponders. Today I am going to be using transponders. I'm going to be using Westhold. But also with the pill draw, I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to do the fast check-in process. It's just going to draw a number for me automatically. We have other ways of doing this as well, where before I pick a driver, I can have the driver press a button and it'll draw a number. I can do it after I pick a driver and have them draw a number. We also can do it manually before or after we select a driver there. If the system's going to be choosing random numbers, we can put in a maximum pill number here. It can be as high or as low as we want. Up to 500 is the max. And we also can set a new low number for that. So what this means is if I wanted to set this to 50, 50 would be the best number you could draw. 49 would be the worst. In general, you're probably not going to go back to the screen too much after you set it up and have your default set, because you can lock in those here. But I like to show this off just in case you do need to make any of those changes. Let's go into MRP Live. That's where we're going to have our transponder integration. So we're going to link up our transponders here. So link it up here. We're going to hit launch from web. That's going to open MRP Live. So this is the first time I've actually downloaded it on the computer here. So it's going to, it's going to find some things for me. This is the first time here. I updated to a new version here earlier. So it's connected. We're going to see some things here with it. So I've matched up a few different things here. So I have this IP address. I actually just copied that and put that right here. This TCP IP port of 50,000, I copied that. I also have the enable network selected. Make sure you hit this button as well. Make sure this is checked. It asks me for the assignments path. For me, that's the C drive. That's where it's going to be receiving these lineups here. I'm going to clear out some of these ones from the past here. And then this MRP Live code, when I hit launch from web, that actually copied over the whole code. This is the code that links it to today, this event right here. So each event that you have on your schedule is going to have a different live code, and you'll just need to, if you hit launch from web, that'll pull over the whole thing. So let's hit connect. It's connected, it's ready to go, and we can ignore this for now. We'll come back to it after we do the lineups there. If you have any questions about anything we've done so far, Alt and H is the place to do that. Be answering all of the questions that you have for today. Could be about anything here, anything you'd like to see. So let me know. So let's go down to our entries. We have all of our drivers here from the past, or the ones who've done online registration are going to be right here. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this filter box here, hit that filter box, and we're going to search for the driver. So driver will show up. He'll say his name is Chuck Ground. Click on him, and we're going to see a few things about Chuck. So we do have his default car number in the system as 87. It did draw a number for me because I did tell it to do that. So you can see that number right here. You're able to see the owner right here. He did that when he did the online registration. He put that in there. We also have his transponder number in the system. If we click on this, we can actually see all the other transponders he's used in the past. We're able to see that it is a default. We also can mark it as rented if we'd like as well. Some other things we're able to see, we do have his age. He's claimed his profile. We do have his address on file, and he did my online registration. With the lineup override right here, we're actually able to move him to the back. So let's say, for example, even though he drew a 22, he just does not feel comfortable starting in the back. So we're able to just start him at the back of all heats, and it can move him back there, regardless of what he drew. And that'll work with any lineup that you're doing. You can just move him all the way to the back. Say he showed up late, you can kind of penalize him that way. So we have that here. It's good to go. And from here, we could definitely just keep repeating this process, using the filter, selecting those here. But we have other ways to enter in drivers. So a different way that we could do that is to import from a previous race. So if we had a 2-day show, for example, that was Thursday into Friday, and we knew a lot of the same drivers were going to be there, we could import all those drivers here, copy over pill numbers, copy over transponder numbers. I'm going to do that a couple of them here. We're able to do that right here, and it'll import those over. We're also able to do this draw here. This is that draw window. This is what a driver would see if he was to draw their own number. It's generally luckier than I do. Another thing we can do is we can scan a barcode. So with this here, your drivers might have a hard card. They're about the size of a credit card. They have a barcode on the back of them. And with it, you're actually able to scan them in, and it'll pull up their correct profile, which is really handy. Another cool thing that's available for drivers is you see that gold helmet here. That means they have claimed their profile. Claiming a profile has a lot of cool benefits for a driver. So they're able to share their news, their photos, their videos. They're able to put in their schedule and update the result. The results will actually be updated at the end of the night with what we're doing here. But another cool thing that they have access to is in the My Race Pass app. They're actually able to get their hard card there, and you're able to scan them in using that right from their phone. So you can have a scanner hooked up, scan their phone, and it'll bring them in there. Certain sanctions have those hard cards to all their drivers, just as a default. So you might encounter some of those, and some are going to claim their profile so they can get that. If you're interested in a scanner, right here, you can go to the help desk, and we have an article that talks all about these barcode scanners and has a specific link that you can go to for some on YouTube. This is the one I've been recommended to folks. If you're interested in this one, I'm going to put this into the chat. So if you're interested in looking at that one, feel free. Always happy to help out with that. There. Another way we're able to enter in drivers, and one sec here, is a search box right up here. So let's say we are looking through this search and we just do not find our driver. We're actually able to use this search box right here and type the driver's name. We're going to be able to find them throughout the MyRacePass network. If they don't have a profile at all, we're able to create a new driver right here too. Some things that I would recommend though. For one, I would use the filter box first. This is going to have your drivers in it from past events. So use that. It filters by first name, last name, or car number. I'd recommend using their last name just in general because the last name helps so that you don't run into situations where John or Jonathan, things like that, names that are say they go by nicknames or things, you're able to catch that. Same with the search. Search by last name first if at all possible. And when it asks you for a hometown, it's going to require one. Make sure when you do that to put in the hometown, make sure it's accurate. It is going to be using that hometown to double check those drivers. So it is going to be using that hometown to double check everybody. If you have an exact same copy, so if you have a BJ Buffalo from Obo, that's Missouri, if you put in an exact copy of that, it's going to pop him in there and say that he is probably the driver that you're looking for. So be on the lookout for that. The last way we have to enter in drivers is this speed entry button. And with the speed entry, once this is clicked, you can just click in the drivers, and unless you have a duplicate car number, like I just did here, or duplicate transponder number, which is what I actually had, we are missing a 2. It'll actually check those in for us without popping up that box. So let's do that again. Round 2. There we go. So it can go much, much faster for you. If you do have that there. Just make sure that not all your drivers have the same transponder numbers hooked in. I'm going to enter in the rest of the drivers here. If you have any questions about entering in drivers, entering in transponder numbers, how that will work, Alt and H is the spot to do that. Like I said, I'll be answering all the questions that you have here throughout the day. Be sure to let me know. I'd be happy to answer this for you. We're going to move right along here. We're going to go into our Races tab. And we do have our previous races here, so we can actually copy over setups that we've done in the past, transfer setups and things like that. I'm going to do them manually for today, and I'm going to add races, and I'm going to add in one heat and one A feature. But I can add in more than that if I wanted to. I could add in features, heats, dashes, qualifying specials, and hot laps. I can go all the way down to a Z feature if I wanted to. And I also can add in multiple of the same type right here. I could add in the laps and how many go to tech as well. So we'll add those in. From here, I can always add in more races, either here if I wanted a new type or add in more heats. and changing the names, add in sponsors right from here. I also could change the lineups per row, so I can do 1, 2, or a 3 per row. But the main thing that I'm going to be wanting to do is I'm going to set this transfer options. So I'm going to be saying who's moving on to the next race. So for me, I'm going to say that everyone is. So I'm going to take the top all into the A feature. But I can get more specific than that if I wanted to. If I had a B feature, I'd want to know who's going to the B, and then from the B to the A. And by default, it's going to go to per race. So it's going to take out of every single race. So every single heat in this case. Firm group will take out of all of the heats that we have. If you have any questions about that, let me know. Or if you're using passing points, let me know as well. If you're ever using passing points, I can always um, do that lineup. We're going to be doing lineups here in just a bit. So if you have any questions about lineups or transponders, this would be a great time to ask that question. Feel free to do that. So we're going to go right into our lineups. So we have our drivers here. And we could definitely just click them how we would want them to go, X them out, move them around. But a faster way to do that would be to calculate lineups up here. We're going to have them. So with our lineups, the first time you do this, it might want you to go here, this gear. You can always go back to it by clicking that gear. But essentially what we're going to be doing is taking from our big list of lineups, the lineups that we're more likely to use. So you can see here's all of my A features. I'm not using any, all of those at all. I'm going to be using these more likely than not. Same with my B features. Same with my heats. So you're going to be able to pick and choose what you want to do. And you can see that here. So we have the my lineups, and then here's all lineups for the heats. So you can see there's a lot of them. It is unlikely that you're going to be using every last one of them. They're available for you, but I'm just going to do heat from pill draw, calculate it, and we're going to see that it is just calculated our drivers how we need them to be. So when I do how is this calculated, it's actually going to pull up my report. And remember that we did put that guy to the back there of the races. So it actually gave him that asterisk there, put that number there. So we're able to print this off if we'd like right here. So we have that there. So let's say we have BJ Buffalo here and he just didn't show up to the lineup on time, or we don't like him. I don't judge. Hey, it's, it's your system. You can click and drag him where he needs to be. You also can move him in between heat races if you'd like. Let's update that. We're going to save this here. When we calculated our lineups and when we updated them here by hitting save, those updated on, if we had a My Race Pass website, it'll update on the website for us automatically. It'll also update on the My Race Pass app for us without having to do anything there either. So if you go to the My Race Pass app, search for your favorite track, you're actually able to follow along with what I'm doing right here, right now, right there from the app. So really cool for your fans to have access to that for free. They're able to view lineups, results, points, entries, all from their phones, all for free. Drivers, anybody there. They also have access, if you'd like, if you're using the transponder integration, to view the live timing data right from their phone. So let's get that going. Let's get a race going through our live timing. We're going to use MRP Live here, and we're just going to click that. It's already connected, so we're going to send our lineups. The lineups are sent. So let's take a look here in Race Manager. We have them right here. It's going to send all of the lineups we have in lineup mode. I am only working in this one class up here. If I had multiple classes going, it would actually send all of the lineups that I created all in one big batch. So we'll go into timing. Let's take a look here at MRP Live. This is what your fans would see if you're using the transponder integration through My Race Pass. Let's get this started. And it is going. So you can see it's going to be keeping up with that. I'm going to make it a little smaller. So you can see as it's going around the track, it's updating here. I'm able to follow my favorite driver by clicking on him right here. If I was to put in a caution, it'll do that. It'll update it with a caution. Right now, I said I'm only doing 5, so it actually threw the checkered flag for me automatically because I put in those for me. So once I have everything updated and good to go, as soon as I hit stop, that's going to be the cue. We're going to stop it. That's going to be the cue that when we go to results, our results are going to be right here. And we're able to hit that here, follow this link, and we have all of our results ready to roll. So if we have, let's take a look here. We have 19, 15, 74, 46X, 87, 02, 08, all the way on down. So we have all of that. We can move drivers around if we wanted to. So if he actually had his transponder just fall off, he finished 6th. We're able to do that. We're also able to put if they did not finish, did not start, or disqualified, black flagged. And if you're using passing points, you can also set them to no passing points right here as well. We're also able, when we see this symbol here, to share that to Facebook and Twitter right from here. So we'll save it. Once that's saved, that's good to go. It's updated on your website if you have My Race Pass website, or we have other things too. If you have your own website, we can do that for you too. So you have options there. Talk to me if you'd like to do that. And it's updated on the app. So we got all that updated. We're ready to go into our A features. If you do have any questions about anything you've seen so far, let me know before we're going to get into those A features. This is your time to ask any of those questions that you're having. And we'll be getting started with that. Right now. So we're going to hit calculate lineups again. We are going to select our lineup that we're going to be doing. For some of our lineups, so I know someone said they were IMCA, for example. If you were to do the IMCA opening night, it's actually going to pull in to do the redraw for you right here. So if you wanted to do that, you could. The point average will do that for you right over here. You have that option. It's going to go based off that rule set. I'm going to be doing the heats and Bs right here. We'll calculate it. We have those calculated here. If I need to, we can do an invert or a redraw, just sort of manually. But from here, it's just going to be repeating the process. We're going to hit MRP Live. We're going to send lineups. Those lineups are sent. We're going to go right back into here. There we are. Start it. And now we have our times here. So what I just did, I went to this lap viewer, which is right into MRP Live. You have a lap viewer. What some folks have been doing, they actually have this screen hooked up here. They connect this to a television near their concessions or near any area where you want fans or drivers to view that for you. It's a great way to keep them connected so they're never missing a beat there. So this is something you have. Announcers love this screen too. You can have this for the announcers, so they have their eye on where everything is here. So I'm gonna let them go around one more time, and I'm gonna cut it short. The drivers don't mind; they're frictional. And again, we're going to hit stop. That stop button is going to be the cue here. So if you see here, it hasn't gone. It's waiting for us to hit stop. We'll hit stop, refresh it, and there it is, ready for us to use. Right there. Save it, and now we're ready for points. So with our points, we'll go into points/pay right at the bottom here, and we're going to add a points pay group. Now you remember earlier we added in a points and pay group. Let's use IMCA Global. We're also able to do our different pay groups here. So I've added in a few here. Let me use that. And I'm just going to hit add. And it's going to go here. It's based on how I've set up all of my points and all of my pay. It is added in all that here. I'm able to adjust this on the fly if I need to. So let's say we're just going to take out $50 of his pay for smelling weird, or we'll give this guy 10 extra bucks because he's won our beauty pageant. I make up things. We can do that. We'll hit save. And it's going to update across here. Also down here at the bottom, we're able to create payments. So I can have that create payments here. I can export this to the desktop version of QuickBooks. I'm also able to create checks right from here too. So I can put in a starting check number. And those checks are going to be printed right here. We have other reports as well. Transponder list reports that'll keep track of the transponders rented or not. A few different types of lineup reports. So let's take a look here. We're actually able to separate this out one per page here. These are all exportable to PDF or printable. And another one people like here, I like using this points by race. I like this one because it has this nice signing right here, and we're able to change up these columns here. So if I just wanted to go based off this here, I could. And that would be a real quick night of racing, night of setup there. If you have any questions about anything at all, I'm going to leave it open for the next few minutes if I have those questions to answer those. Alton H will be the spot to do that. I am going to be doing another one of these webinars tomorrow at 12:30 Central Time, going over the My Race Pass app, season management, online ticket sales, dropship apparel, and questions. Questions 3 times, so you know we're pretty serious about that. So have that. Also in the chat, I'm gonna be posting that webinar. So if you, not webinar, the form. That form, you fill out this form, you're gonna be entered into a drawing to get $200 off for next year's subscription. So feel free to fill that out. Helps us out a great deal. I will also be doing these webinars next week, and the times have been determined. It just hasn't updated on the website. It is going to be the same times as this week. So Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday are going to be at 5:30 Central Time, and then we're going to have a Thursday show at 12:30. We're going to be doing that there for y'all. So again, this is your time though for questions. Hit that Alton H. If you do have any questions, are we going over things there? So it is your time. Oh, okay. So I had a couple questions here. So the driver's registration, and most of your drivers are registered. Can you add them in, or is it best to wait? So them being in the system won't mean that they're necessarily registered. But you could always add them in manually or have them fill this out. If you add them in and they're already in the system for you, so I think some of mine are. I'm going to go to a different class here. Let's do the super stock because some of my guys are already taken. Let's do a late model. There we go. So I can add in a driver. If I add him in here, they have Kale Trickle. We can add in his owner information here. It's actually going to have his information already stored from the last time he's done it. Or you can have them all re-register. It is your call. Um, your and the link to Facebook goes to your personal page. So for that, you're just going to have to relink it. And what we'll need to do is, I believe you can go in here. Let me do one thing. So here I went to this gear. We have our settings, and inside of connected apps, yours is going to have the Facebook page on it. Mine's going to be blank. I don't have it connected to Facebook, but it'll have an X there. You'll want to exit out because it's your personal Facebook page, and you'll want to reconnect it. And you'll want to look for pages that you're an admin of. And that's where we're going to be going there for that. That's a great question. If you have other questions, Alt and H, the spot to do that. You can click over here to the help desk as well to join in on that. We have articles going over all of those topics and more. Also, let me pull up this right here. This email is also a great resource if you have any questions. That goes to me and the rest of the support team here at MyRacePass to answer any questions that you have. And if you're interested in getting trained up, you like everything you see, but it's a little bit before race time. You can actually go to the sandbox mode here. The sandbox mode is the perfect place to practice the system. Get prepared, learn it here. Everything I said about sharing out to the public does not apply to the sandbox mode here. So you can create and get ready to go without having to worry about anything there. So another great thing that you have going on there, and that's going to be in the dashboard towards the bottom with this little let's call it a beaker down there to the bottom. So be sure to try it out, use the sandbox, get prepared. Those great questions. I'm going to be leaving it open here for the next minute or so, unless I get more questions to answer. This is again your time to go over those, and we'll get you rocking there. So for another minute or so. Awesome. Well, then that wraps it up for me. But be sure to fill out that survey. Again, helps us out a great deal. Puts you into that drawing there. So be sure to do that. Again, we'll be on another one of these tomorrow at 12:30 Central. And have a great rest of the night.